Around 31 miles southwest of Jerusalem. What's come there? It's an inscription, but if we superimpose the actual letters there, we have an alphabet in the old Katav Ivri, virtually the same as ours, except the Vav and the Hey are the wrong way around, the Chet and the Zayin are the wrong way around, and the Lamed and the Chaf are the wrong way around, as we know them. Similar age is this Gezer calendar, also from about 1,000 years BC, time of King Solomon. And this one, if we transliterate into our script, this is actually an agricultural calendar. Which month you reap the barley, which month you do weeding, and so on. One of the most well-known inscriptions is, of course, the Siloam inscription. We know from Divrei Hayam in the Book of Chronicles, Book 2, Chapter 32, that King Hezekiah, he didn't do it himself, he got his workmen to dig a fantastic tunnel from the Gihon spring to the pool of Siloam. They diverted the water into Jerusalem. This was a massive feat of engineering, 533 meters long, and a bit like with the Channel Tunnel. The workmen started at each end, one group from the Gihon Spring, one group from the Pool of Siloam, and they met up in the middle. And archaeologists found this inscription at the point where they met. Again, put it in actual writing there. The top is how it was found, Katav Ivri, and the bottom bit there is transliterated into our Hebrew alphabet. It took them 2 years to do it, and they met right in the middle. Fascinating engineering. And we have many more examples, right up to the Bar Kokhba revolt. So this is one of many coins found from the time of Bar Kokhba revolt, 2nd century CE. It's 2 faces of the coin. If you look at the left-hand side there, starting at 3 o'clock, you have a shin and a mem, and then going round to 9 o'clock, you've got an I and a vav and a nun, that spells Shimon, and that, of course, is Shimon Bar Koziba, Bar Kokhba. And above the image of the temple columns there is a star. So this is the coin of Shimon Bar Kokhba. And the right side, the flip reverse of the coin, it says in Katav Ivri, Lecherot Yisrael, for the freedom of Israel. So we have some 1,200 centuries of Katav Ivri. So why, where, and when did it change to the Ketuv Ashurit, the script that we know now? So I thought we'd plow through the Gemara, one of the Gemaras, there are others as well, on this particular topic, and see if it can enlighten us. And as of course, it's not at all straightforward. There are different opinions and there are difficulties, but then we like to argue amongst ourselves, don't we? So let's start. Omer Mar Zutra, the Tema Marukba. Mar Zutra said, some say it was Marukba, but Chila nit natol Israel b'chtav ivri v'lashon hakodesh. At the beginning, the Torah was given to Israel in the Katav Ivri, the Phoenician script, and in Hebrew. Chazrav nitna lehem b'mei Ezra. Then it was later given to them again at the time of Ezra, b'chtav Ashurit, in the Ashurit script, which is the one we use, v'lashon Aramei, an Aramaic language. Biru lehem Israel Katav Ashurit v'lashon hakodesh. It was selected for Israel; they should continue using the Assyrian script and Hebrew. V'heinichu lehedionot. It was left for the commoners Katav Ivrit, the old Ivrit script, for Lashon Arami, an Aramaic language. And the Gemara says, Man Hedyodot, who are these commoners? Amar Rab Chista, Kutei, the Samaritans, the Kutim. And my Katav Ivrit, what is Hebrew script? Amar Rab Chista, Katav Libona'ah. And Libona'ah suggests it means Lebanese script, which fits well with the Phoenician script that others give it. Now, the Kutim, the Samaritans, we know from days of yore. We have a somewhat checkered history with the Kutim. A little potted history then. So after the death of King Solomon, the kingdom split into 2. The northern kingdom of Israel with 10 tribes, and the southern kingdom of Judah with 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin. And throughout both territories, there were 48 cities of Levites with the branch of Kohanim. The Assyrians destroyed the northern kingdom of Israel in 722 BCE, and Sennacherib, their king, was a very ruthless, a very clever general. When he conquered territory, he moved peoples around. It's very difficult to organize rebellion if you're in a strange place and don't know the people around you. So the 10 tribes from the north of Israel were spread elsewhere, hence we call them the 10 lost tribes, and other people were brought in to live in that northern kingdom. And these were the Samaritans from the area is called Samaria. And the Samaritans claimed to be descendants from the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, but the Jews of the southern kingdom regard them as interlopers, people who they might have married in to some of Ephraim and Manasseh, but they didn't keep the same Torah. They have a Torah, 5 books of Moshe. They don't have Nevi'im and Ketuvim. They didn't follow rabbinic Judaism, and there were actual physical fights between the two. And we know at the time when we set up bonfires to announce the Rosh Chodesh, the Samaritans set up bonfires on the wrong night deliberately to confuse them. So somewhat checkered history. What's interesting is that there are still Samaritans in Israel today. There are about 1,000 of them, 2 main enclaves, one in Cholon in Israel, one in near Nablus in the West Bank. And there are smatterings, I gather, in Italy and Brazil as well, but mainly in Israel. And they join the Israeli Defense Army. They play a part. Some of them have dual nationality, Israeli and Arab. Very interesting. One of the biggest differences between them and us is that they don't regard Yerushalayim as the center of the Jewish world. It's Har Gerizim, Mount Gerizim. And every year on Pesach, they actually sacrifice Korban Pesach, here we see, on Har Gerizim every year. Sacrifice the lambs. Here we see them celebrating Shavuot. And here they're celebrating Sukkot with their Sefer Torah. What's interesting for our talk today is that their Sefer Torah is written in Ketav Ivri, the old Paleo-Phoenician Hebrew script. So let's carry on with the Gemara, and we can see where and when it changed. Tanya was taught in the Braita. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Ra'oi Haya Ezra, it was fitting for Ezra, Shetinat in Torah al Yadol Israel, Ilema Lokadmo Moshe b'Moshe. It would fitting if Ezra would be given the Torah by his hand to Israel if Moshe hadn't come before him. But Moshe hu Omer, with Moshe it says, Moshe Allah Elohim, Moshe went up to God. But Ezra hu Omer, in Ezra it says, who Ezra Allah mi Bavel, Ezra came up from Bavel, Ma Aliyah ha'amor kan Torah, just as the Aliyah said with Moshe was for the Torah, Af Aliyah ha'amor halan Torah. So the Aliyah said here for Ezra was for the Torah. But Moshe haya omer, v'oti tiva Hashem etahilamed echem chukim mishpatim. Hashem commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments. But Ezra humer, likewise for Ezra it says, Ki Ezra heichin levavo, prepared his heart, lidrosh Torah Hashem elokav, to inquire about the Torah of Hashem his God, v'lasot lamed b'Yisrael chok mishpat, and to teach Israel chok mishpat. Even though the Torah wasn't given in his hand, and here comes the punchline, everyone, Nishtana al yado haktav. The script was changed by his hand, Shene Emar, Uchtav Nishtavan, and they sent a letter. This was to the king of Babylon. Ketuv Aramit Turgaman Aramit. They sent a letter to the king of Babylon in Aramit, and the word Nishtavan is connected to the word Hishtalat, to change. So that's one hint that it was changed. And another uchtiv, and it's in the book of Daniel, Lo chahalin ketava lemikrei uvishrei hodala malka. The wise men weren't able to read the writing or explain its meaning. This refers to Belshazzar's feast. Belshazzar, the son of King Nebuchadnezzar, made a grand feast for all his nobles. He showed off the booty he captured from the temple in Jerusalem, eating and drinking from the vessels of the temple. And at this Belshazzar's feast, we know this mysterious hand appeared and wrote on the wall, and nobody could read it. The wisest men in the most powerful kingdom in the land couldn't read it. And this, those who hold this view say, is because up to then it was Ketav Ivri, and only now is it going to be changed to Ketav Ashurit. And later in that chapter, we have Daniel chapter 5:8. They couldn't read at all. And Daniel, who was the leader of the Jewish people with prophetic insight, could read it. This is what the writing actually says. Menei menei tekelu farasim. These are the 4 words. Menei menei tekelu farasim. So why couldn't the wise men read it? It must be they could only read Ketav Ivri, which was in use till then. Ketav Ashurit was about to be introduced by Ezra, but no one knew it yet. And now the rabbis want to find a biblical proof that it's going to change as well. So they quote this posuk now from Devarim, Uchtiv, v'chatav et Mishnah Torah azot. It says in Devarim, when you appoint a king, he should write Mishneh HaTorah hazot, which could mean a copy of this Torah, but they used it to say Katav Hara'oi Lehishtanot, write a script that is fitting to be changed. The word Mishneh can also mean to be changed. This is a remez, a hint from Torah, that the script would be changed at some point. And finally, Lam Nikra Asherit. Why is it called Asherit? Why call it Assyrian script? She'alai Mahem Ashur. When they came back from Babel, the time of Ezra, they brought the script with them. Now, we do have, though, an opposing view. Tanya Rebbe on there. We're talking about Rebbe, that's Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi says. But Chila Bichtav Zenit Natal Israel. At the start, the Torah was given in this Assyrian script to Israel. Kivan Shechatu Nepach Lahem Roetz, when they sinned in the time of the first temple, it was changed to a lesser script. Kivan Shechazru Bahen, when they came back, Herziru Lahen, then the script was changed for them. Shneamar, Shuvu Lenitzaron, Assyria Tikva, Gamayom Magim Shnei Shilach. So this is a verse from Zechariah prophesying that when they return, I will give you Ashivla, I will give you Mishneh, again from this word, the Hishtanot to change. I will give you a changed script. Lama Nikra Shem Asherit. So why is it called Asherit? Shema Usheret Bichtav. Not from Assyria. It is Usheret. It is a glorious praiseworthy, a bit like the word Asherit. Asherit Shvetecha. It is a glorious script. So that's the second view. And we have yet a third view. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Mishum Rabbi Elazar ben Prata, Shema Mishum Rabbi Elazar Hamodai. Ketav Zeh lo nishtana kol ekar. The script was never changed at all. Shneimar, as it says, Vavei ha'amudim. This is a verse with the Mishkan, the hooks of the posts. Actually this week's Sidra. Vavei ha'amudim, Choshakim kasef, the hooks of the posts. Ma amudim lo nishtanu. Just as the posts in the Mishkan didn't change, Af vavim lo nishtanu, so the hooks didn't change, and the word vav means a hook, and in Ketav Ivri, it looks more like a hook than it does in the other. So they're saying that the vav didn't change either. For Omer, and similar, another proof in the book of Esther, he wrote to the Mordechai wrote to the Jews in their writing and in their language, just as their language never changed, so their script never changed. So let's carry on. So if you say, those who say it didn't change, why do they use the book about the Devarim, where the king says Mishnah Torah? If it doesn't mean a changed script, what does it mean? Lishtei Torah. It means he should have two copies of the Torah. One that goes out and backwards and forwards with him, one that stays in his treasury. The one that goes out and comes back with him, he shall make it like a kamaya, an amulet, and he shall hang it on his arm. I've set Hashem before me always. So in other words, when King David says in Tehillim, I've set the Lord before me always, he's talking about the Sefer Torah on his arm. The Idach and the other view then, Hai Shiviti Madrish Bey. Why does he need the word Shiviti? Mi boile kid Rav Chana bar Bizna, Don Rav Chana bar Bizna, Arabi Shimna Chasida, Hamid Paleo Tsarech Shiret Smok Yilish Shimna Connector. One who's davening should see himself as if God's in front of him. Shnema Shiviti Hashem Neti Tamid. In other words, it's literally, before I set Hashem before me always, when I'm davening, I should remember that. Nothing to do with an Amulet Nizar and the second Sefer Torah. The Gemara says, the Rabbi Shimon, the Amar Kastav Zeh Lo Nishtana. So according to Rabbi Shimon, the third view, who says the writing never changed, why couldn't the wise men of Belshazzar read the writing? If it's always been one script, the wise men should have recognized it. Amarav, the gematria ichtiv laham. It was written in a code. When we say gematria, we normally think of numerical value, but gematria can mean a code. So it was written for them. What they saw was these words, yetet, yetet, idach, v'chamet. Now, what on earth is that? This goes to the old code called atbash. Atbash is used quite a lot in the Talmud. The aleph is swapped for a taf, the bet for a shin, and so on. And each letter has its corresponding one from the alphabet. We find this even in the Tanakh, in the book of Yirmiyah, We say, Ko Mar Hashem, Enani Me'ir al Bavel, I will rouse up on Bavel, El Yeshvei Lev Kamai, and on the inhabitants of Lev Kamai, Ruach Mashchita, destructive wind. What's Lev Kamai? Who's ever heard of a place Lev Kamai? If you look at Atbash code, a Lev Kamai comes out as Kasdim. Remember, Aaron came Ur Kasdim, another word for Babylon. And later in the same chapter of Jeremiah, Eich Nukoda Sheshach. How can Sheshach be captured? Where on earth is Sheshach? We use Atbash. Sheshach comes out as Bavel, another word for Bavel. So in our 4 words on the wall of Belshazzar's feast, Menei Menei Tekel Farsin, using Atbash, it comes out as Yetet Yetet Idach Fugchamat. In other words, it wasn't that the wise men couldn't read the script, it's that they couldn't understand the words. The Gemara then comes to explain what do the 4 words actually really mean. My Parishlahu, what's the explanation? Menei Menei Tekel Farsin. Menei means Menei Elokam Elchotech. God has numbered the days of your kingdom. Takil, tikalt b'muznav hishtachavat chasir. God has weighed you in the balance, and you've been found wanting, lacking. And parasin, priestet malchutecha v'yahivet l'medev for us. Your kingdom will be split up and given to the kings of Media and Persia. But other rabbis have a different version of this code. Shmuel Amar. Shmuel says this is how it came out, because he thought the words Menei Menei Tekel Farsin were actually written in columns going downwards. Menei Menei Tekel Ufar Sin. But the wise men read them across, so they couldn't make them out. It comes out Mamtos Nam Kapei Aluram. Another view, Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Anam Anam Leket Nisrafu. Each word was written backwards. So Menei was written Aleph Nun Mem, and so on. And Rav Ashi says, Nama Nama Katel Porosin. The first 2 letters of each word were transposed. So that's how. So in all cases, it's a bit like the Morecambe and Wise program. They were all the right letters, but not necessarily in the right order. So to sum up, we have 3 opinions. Mar Zutra and Rav Yossi, the Torah was given in Ketav Ivri and only changed to Ketav Asherit in the time of Ezra. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, the Torah was given in Ketav Asherit, changed to Ketav Ivri, then changed back to Ketav Asherit during the time of Ezra. And Rav Shimon ben Elazar, the script never changed at all. It was always Ketav Asherit. And the Geonim and the Rambam seem to hold this 3rd view as well. But each of these opinions actually gives us a problem. According to the first one, Torah was given Ketav Ivri, changed to Ketav Asherit. But we have another Gemara in Shabbat discussing the letters in the Hebrew, and it says, Amar Rav Chisda, Mem v'samach shebeluchot v'nes hayu omdim. The Mem and the Samach in the tablets of stone stood by a miracle. So if you look, the Samach, the letters in the tablets of stone were completely engraved through from front to back. They weren't written, they were engraved through, hollowed out. So the Samach and the Mem, which is a square form, if all of this is graved all the way through, the middle would fall out. So we have a tradition, there was a miracle that they stayed. I tried to show what that looked like. I don't know if you can see that on your screen. The middle hollowed out. The middle didn't fall out as the letter was engraved all the way through. Here's one I made earlier. So if it was, but our problem for Rabbi Chisda is that in the Ivrit script, the Samach and Mem are not circular. It's the ayin that was circular. So how can he say it was given in Ketav Ivri and reconcile the Gemara that says the Mem and the Samach stay there miraculous? That's a problem for him. In the Talmud Yerushalmi, in fact, there's a view of Rabbi Levi, it was the ayin that was miraculous, because that is circular. And the second opinion, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the Torah was given Ketav Asherit and changed to Ivrit and then changed back to Asherit. Why then do we still find Ketav Ivri up to the time of Bar Kokhba, which was 600 years after the time of Ezra? And the third opinion, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, it was always Ketav Asherit. How do we explain the thousands of items of Ketav Ivri that we have? Well, our rabbis Bassan do manage to find solutions. So the Ritva and the Maharal of Prague suggest that the tablets and the original Torah, the first Torah scroll that was kept with the tablets in the Aron HaKodesh, in the Mishkan, the Bet HaMikdash, they were written in Katav Asherit. All other forms were written in Katav Ivri, including other Torah scrolls. In the time of Ezra, Asherit was proof for all Torah scrolls. So then we can explain these different opinions, those referring to original tablets and those referring to other Torah scrolls. And we're left only with the problem of miraculous letters, the Samach and the Ayin, and the Radbaz, Rabbi David ibn Zebra, explains that there were two tablets of stone. The first tablet of stone, Hashem himself, Masi Elokim Hema, came down on Shavuot, and after the sin of the golden calf, Moshe prepared a second set of tablets of stone, Ketav Lacha, right for Silhat earlier. So, the Radbaz explains, Rabbi Chisda's miraculous Samach Mem is referring to the first set of tablets, which were in Asherit, while Rav Levi's miraculous Ayin in the Jerusalem Talmud is referring to the second set. So we have explained our problems, hopefully. I hope I haven't gone too fast for everyone. I tried to pack a lot in. And just to finish with a lovely verse from the Megillah Esther, to the Jews, there was light and joy and gladness and honor. And as you say in the Havdalah every week, Kain Tiel Lanu, so may it be for us, our families, and all Israel. Amen. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much. If you turn the screen up, you can all see each other. Right. Yes. Anyone, you're very welcome to. That's it. Very welcome to unmute yourselves now. If you have any questions.
I just wanted to ask, what I understood the first set was written in Asheret, but what was the second set written in the final solution?
Oh, so that's funny. Was the second set was in Ivrit? Was in Ivri.
In Ivri, thank you.
So therefore, the rabbi says it was the ayin was referring to that one.
Thank you.
Any other comments? It's a very interesting talk, and
very interesting.
Lot of facts there, a lot of historical facts there. But thing is, now we take so many things for granted. We don't think about the origins of anything, and in fact, to hear about the origins of what we use every day is very interesting. Very interesting. So, if no one else has any questions, I'd like to thank Alan again for a very interesting talk.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
We'll clap our hands on that. And have a good week, everyone. And we will see you all next week again, hopefully. The new schedule for March will be published later in the week. So thanks a lot again, and have a good day, everyone. Have a good week.
Okay. Keep well, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Stephen, can you stay on the line for a minute, Stephen Jacobson?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah.
Please.
Is he just a member of the shop?
I have no idea. No idea, Caroline.
Okay, how did he introduce him?
He didn't. Because he's done it before, so he didn't introduce him. Spoke to Alan Goldman.
Yeah, Alan Goldman was listening in from where? From Modier?
Yeah, she's had an operation.
Right. Few people still on there. Session is over, so you can switch off if you want to. I think the two Stevens are having a private chat, so and we're left on.
You can always shut everybody else off.
Can I? How can I do that?
Going to participants, maybe they can bounce people off that way.
No. No, you can actually. I'll put in waiting room. I can move them people back in the waiting room, can't I? Right, okay, that's what I can do. Yeah. A second. So there's only us two of us left. Okay, you're on mute at the moment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't know who CR was, and the fact that they had the video off and they wouldn't identify. I actually had a private chat, and I asked them, "Who are you? Can you identify yourself?" And I got nothing back. So you know, the whole idea of a waiting room is that you're selective on who you bring into the meeting.
Okay,
It could have been somebody. It might have been a regular, but it might be some stalker. We just don't know.
That person's been on every week. CR's been on every single week.
Yeah, but we still don't know whether that's a stalker or not.
Yeah. Or maybe next week I'll say you need to put your full name on, please. And,
Yeah. Because otherwise, it's from a security perspective, it's a bit questionable.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not Cal Raphael because he came on himself. I thought originally it was Cal Raphael because his initials are CR. Otherwise, it could be Chief Rabbi, but I don't think the Chief Rabbi is every week. It may have come on once out of interest, but I don't think every week. I don't know. Okay, I'll question it next week. I'll suggest people put on their full names. No pseudonyms. Okay.
It's better practice, I think.
Yeah, that was very interesting, Say, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew Alan was scholarly, but that was so scholarly, wasn't it?
Very well researched. No, it's excellent.
Brilliant.
He told me a few weeks ago he wanted to talk about that subject. Has anyone done it before? I said no, and so he did it well prepared. It's very, very good.
Brilliant.
Great.
Stuff.
Okay.
Thanks,
Nice
Stephen. That's
seeing you.
great.
Okay. See you. Have a good day.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.